Gunline. Fire mission coming down. It's your host Lopez here from On the Gunline podcast, bringing you a shoot the shit episode with somebody I've known for about a good, 2008 till today is. That's about how long I've known this character. Except back then he had a different looking mug. Apparently braces make a difference and shit. And he started hitting the gym. Anyway, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and plow on forward here. Let me go ahead and thank you all for listening to the midweek memo with me and Kowalczyk. It seems to be one of the favorite shows people have been telling me. So right on. And just to throw that out real quick, my homeboy Marquez he's starting up his own fucking podcast. Make sure you guys go listen to it, subscribe to it. It's called Get Your Mind Right. All right. Get Your Mind Right is basically spitting positivity, putting out some good shit out in the universe just to make sure you start your Mondays on a great fucking path. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. This week, I don't know about you, brother, but this week, it felt like the longest fucking Monday of the year. But before we go ahead and bring him on through, I got this guy right here, URENA, URENA, or I don't know how he says it, if he's the white-sicken way or what. Anyways, I've known this character, like I said, for quite some time, and we got a story for you from Korea. I don't know if you remember, but
oh man.
With that being said, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on your show, man. Really love what you're doing. Really, I've been following you the whole way, man. I've got nothing but love and respect for you and everything that you're doing, man.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm happy that you were actually able to come over here and sit down on Shoot the Shit with me on the gun line, because it took some arm twisting to get you.
Yeah, I almost didn't do it, man. I'm kind of camera shy, but you know what? I figured I couldn't do it for anybody else.
I appreciate it, man. And you know what? When I get up there on that Joe Rogan status, brother, I'm bringing you with me.
I just want a free T-shirt. That's all I want, man. Maybe like a beer. That's it. I don't ask for much.
One day when I get invited to those parties and shit with all the hot girls or guys, you're more than welcome.
You can sell on my yacht anytime too, man.
Orale, right on, man. Hey, for those people that don't know you, man, we got a lot of mutual friends together. So,
yeah, we do.
But for those that don't know you, that do listen to the podcast, tell us about yourself, man. Who are you? Where you from? What's the deal? What's your story, man?
Well, my name's Jesse URENA. I'm 34 years old. I'm from a small town in California. It's called Imperial Beach. I just grew up a beach boy. I'd skip school, go to the beach every day, and see my teachers there surfing. They'd chew me out. Went through that whole process, and then I think 2 weeks before I joined the Army, I was fully set on going to art school in like San Francisco and stuff. But this was like in 2004, because I just want to be like an artist, draw, paint, sculpt things, and work with computers. And in 2004, Iraq was like full swing, and that's all you heard: Iraq. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be 60, 70 years old and stuff, sitting in my rocking chair with my grandkids on my lap. And they're like, hey, Dad or Grandpa, what'd you do, during that period of time? And I just didn't feel like the right thing to tell them would be like, oh, I watched from afar. I was going to art school, being a hippie or whatever in California, in my safe space. So I joined the Army. It wasn't my first choice, but it just happened to work out that way, which was like a long story. And then when it came down to like, hey, what job do you want? They went through a long list of things, and I was like, cannon crew member, man, that sounds cool.
Right.
And that's literally the only reason why I picked it, is it just sounded cool. And then after, the guy's like, oh yeah, and we're gonna give you $7,000 and you're gonna go to Korea. And when you're like an 18-year-old kid that just grew up poor, like his whole life, $7,000, like that's like 1 million bags of hot Cheetos, man. So I was like, yeah, sign me up. And then, and then after that, I went to Fort Sill, and that was my first time ever leaving the state. And I just remember like feeling the heat and the humidity in the summer. It was like 4th of July weekend in 2004 when I got there.
Yeah. And
it was crazy. It was just,
and just so people don't get the idea that, IB is, when he says he grew up by the beach and all that, it's not your Huntington Beach. It's not your Venice Beach. All right. It's your South Central, of the beach community. Right? I know because I went to San Diego Job Corps Center, which is located in Imperial Beach.
Yep.
It's not
Yeah.
what you think of the beach community.
Yeah, it was for the long all throughout the 90s at least, it was known as the last poor man's beach in California, because you could get like an apartment a block away from the beach for like $550, $600 a month.
Oh,
It's not the case right now. You're
right.
looking at like 3,500, but at the time it was cheap, and that community reflected the home prices at the
Right.
time. Like it was a struggle, man, but like I wouldn't change it for anything. I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud of where I grew up, and like all the friends that I've got back home, I still talk to them, and like it's a good experience. I wouldn't live there now because like the military has kind of evolved my thinking and my
Right.
politics and my leaning politically. So for me, California is not even really an option. I'd go there to visit, maybe get some California burritos and some carne asada fries, but I definitely would not be
Roberto's.
living there.
Was it Roberto's on Palm? I think it was.
We have Roberto's, Alberto's, Pancho's, Hector's.
And if
like,
you wanted some authentic shit, you just cross the border from San Isidro and go get some dog tacos. I mean, some good tacos.
They
You
were
ever
good
notice
though,
that
man.
there's no dogs in TJ? That's because they were all being cooked, bro.
Yeah, but they tasted good.
They did taste
tasted
good, huh? So yeah, man, that's what's up. How did you end up joining the military? I mean, what got you into the recruiter station aside
Oh
from
man,
being patriotic but I mean, you told us that you joined because cannon crew member. That's why you went artillery.
yeah.
So they didn't even have to show you the video.
No, definitely not.
Now the
I
video.
didn't even know there was a. I didn't even know there was a video. I wish I saw this video because apparently, like, it tricked 90% of the army into picking 13 Bravo.
Yeah,
Something about like an airplane, airdrops, and all that stuff.
yeah.
If I would have seen the video, like it would have made a difference. I just picked it because it was cool. But I was initially gonna drop out of high school because I wasn't doing so hot in school when I was 17, my junior year, and I was gonna go into Job Corps, and then my plan was to join the Navy. But I have an uncle who I respect to the moon and back. He was in the Navy at the time, and he kind of set me straight. He was like, "Hey, man, just stay in school, finish it out, do it the right way,
Right.
and then when you're 18, you're senior, you're gonna be a little bit more mature in your thought process, and then you can make a better decision. You want to join the Navy, by all means." So fast forward a year later, I'm sitting in like English class with this kid, and his name was Rashawn McDowell. And this guy was like, "Hey man, you want to join the military?" He kept saying military. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, I've been thinking about doing it for like a year."
Yeah.
I'm thinking he was a pretty fit guy. I'm thinking, oh, Marine Corps or Navy or something.
Right.
Never in a million years did I think, oh, the Army's in this neck of the hoods, because you don't ever see the Army in California, not even like San Diego. It's all Navy and Marines.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, like I'm thinking about it. He's like, "Hey, my recruiter's coming in at lunch. You can go talk to him. He's a sergeant." And then I was like, oh, he's probably thinking about the Marines.
Right.
So lunchtime comes around. I'm wearing like these black cargo pants, like Genco pants and stuff, and my like knockoff Jubito, which were like knockoff Adidas shoes that I got at thrift store.
Right.
Thrift store. And I show up, and then there's this dude in a pickle suit wearing like sunglasses.
Yeah.
And like probably didn't even have headgear outside. And he's like, "Hey, what's up, young man?" He's like, you talking about joining the military, huh? Joining the Army?" I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, when do you think you're gonna be free? You got to have you taken the ASVAB yet? And I was like, no, not yet. You gonna be free this evening? I was like, yeah, I'm free. So that evening I took the ASVAB, like the pre-test.
Yeah.
I got like a 75 or something, and I thought I failed. So I was like, "Hey, my bad. I didn't mean to score so low. I wasn't ready, out of the blue." No, he's like, "Nah, you're good, man. Don't worry. You got a 72. You're just what we need."
Wait, was that
And
a
then,
GP score or was that the overall score?
that was the score that you get on the ASVAB pre-test. It kind of like gives you a rough, not the GT, but like the 1 in 100 ASVAB score. So it gives you like a rough estimate of what you're actually going to score. I thought anything below an 80 was like failure. You can't come in. I thought the Army had like the highest entrance standards of all the branches. That's why I never heard of them. And
that was a high one for you.
And I got a 72, and the dude's eyes lit up, and he's like, when can you sign up? I was like, now, I guess. And then I just started filling the paperwork out that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. And where'd you go to basic in Fort Sill, right? What battery were you in? Do you remember?
I was in Alpha 122 back when they used to do OSAT. Back when 13 Deltas, Bravos, and 13 Foxes used to train together for like the 15 or so weeks, like
16
nonstop
weeks.
with the same people. 16 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, there was no fucking break in between of welcome to AIT. No, bitch. Ain't nothing changed.
Yeah, and it sucked. It sucked because like our DFAC at 122 was closed at the time, so we had to march to 178 or something.
Okay.
It was down the road. It's where the Marines went to the DFAC.
2nd and 80th.
Yeah, so we went down there to eat, and we'd see in that same pad was the Marines, AIT students, and then every other support artillery MOS
right
in their AIT, and they wore berets.
Right.
So we got excited because we're like, oh, after 9 weeks, we're going to switch over to the berets.
Nope.
You know, we're going to be like the big man on campus walking around.
Right.
Nope. The drill sergeants told us to pull them out just to shape them. And they're like,
Right.
This is what they're going to look like. Now put them back away.
Put them back away.
All we're going to do is give you a black phase, the black phase guide-on banner. That's the only change. That's the only change that you're going to see. But those berets, nah, fam, you're not going to see them.
Yeah,
it's so disappointing.
We didn't see those till like the last week, and that was to take them out, shape them, shave them, and then just have them in our locker for family day and graduation.
Yep.
Oh man, just brought back memories. Because I remember 2nd into 80th, that's where you would go to. Like if you went to sick call or some shit, you would go to that DFAC, and then you go to sick call to the TMC.
Yeah.
But you would also see they had a TV in there, so a lot of motherfuckers would fake an ailment to go fucking go watch TV. And I went there one time because I had shin splints or some shit, and I saw the jarheads marching in, man, and you can hear those motherfuckers coming in. I mean, it's just like boom, no cadence. All you hear is just boom, boom, boom from their boots fucking stomping on the ground, man. It made us feel like shit because they look so fucking good when they march.
Yeah, one of our drill sergeants would kind of like chew us out. He'd be like, here's a big difference between you guys and these guys. Look at the discipline in those guys. Look at the discipline in your guys. Like it felt shitty having like eating the same thing, eating the same like environment and stuff. Like I never had like an inferiority complex between us and the Marines.
Right.
Like, especially these days now, I'm pretty straightforward about what I feel they do and they don't do.
He's a Marine.
He's loyal. Honor, courage, commitment.
Oh my dude, and that poor motherfucker's just back there at parade rest. What the fuck?
It's the quickest like conversation ender. If any Marine ever like tries to start an argument with you nowadays, all you gotta do is just point at the TikTok and that's it. Like they have no response. And I'm hoping to God that like we don't come up with like the next biggest thing, because I think we're already set.
Yeah, I think that one right there leveled the playing field for us and talking shit. Because God, I remember on deployments, motherfucking jarheads used to walk by and they used to do their whistle their hymn, their little, like to try to make talk shit. This try to do that, I'm just gonna say he's a Marine. He's loyal.
Honor and courage. Just do the bird call or something.
For real, man.
Thing is, she was.
Do you remember any of your drill sergeants from back then?
Oh man, yeah. So I had 3. I'll start with the one that kind of came in mid-cycle. His name was Drill Sergeant Jolly, Reynolds Jolly.
Damn.
And he became the Drill Sergeant of the Year the following year. For I don't know if it was Army I think it was Army. And then last I saw him was at ALC. He was a warrant officer. He was on the elevators at the little lodging hotels that we stay in.
Yeah.
Saw him on the elevator and we stood next to each other. I'm like, oh shoot, you were my drill sergeant. He's like, hey, what's up? Oh, it's a chief now. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And then the second one was a 13 Bravo. These two were both 13 Bravos. Drill Sergeant Zapala, and this dude was like savage. Like if anybody ever like met this guy, I don't know if he's still in. The last place I heard that he was in was he was like the sergeant major at NTC for the FA battalion.
Oh shit. Okay.
there. I don't know how recent that was, but this man, like, I there's no when I picture an NCO, like old school Army NCO with
Mhm.
the haircut, like I'm talking like the four finger stinger, fucking
Yeah,
landing strip haircut, creased uniform, OD green juggle boots.
yeah.
Drill Sergeant Zapala was that man. Like, if anybody, like, this dude, I respect the shit out of this man. I haven't seen him since, but this dude was like the right introduction, the right image I wanted to see as far as the Army went.
Did he fucking put the fear of God in you when you got there?
Yeah, there was some questionable shit that happened, and I don't throw anybody under the bus, man.
Right,
But
right.
okay, regardless of what happened, I respect the shit out of this man, and like he was a damn good NCO.
Oh,
I think he went to Fort Bragg a few years later, and like took over as a sergeant major over there. Like
yeah.
that dude was legit. And the third one, and I think this guy retired a long time ago, was um, Assad, Drill Sergeant Assad, and he was like a combat medic.
Oh,
The
no
first
shit.
time I saw this guy, I thought he was a 13 Bravo, but I'm talking about like a big, like Terry Crews, like massive
No
Debo sized
shit.
guy, and he's walking down the drill pad with two 155 rounds on his shoulders. Like his calves had biceps, man. The dude was massive. And he's walking around, and I didn't know how much like 155 rounds weighed, but he's like walking down, telling us how we're like lower than nothing,
Yeah.
and just like telling us how the next like 16 weeks are going to be living hell. And he puts him down. And I remember like a few weeks later, I'm like looking around the drill pad. I go to those 155 rounds. I'm like 110 pounds, man, and I'm like trying to lift this thing. I'm like, holy shit! I was like, God damn, dude was huge. And he was one of those like silent but deadly kind of guys, like soft spoken, wouldn't really raise his voice. He would tell you that you're a failure, but here's why. And I think that is, I feel like I took some of that in my career. Like, you don't always have to yell unless it's like necessary, obviously, but like he can be soft spoken, but his message could like resonate with you for a
It'll still
long time.
convey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
He was
I
one of
mean,
those motherfuckers then that would hit you with the fucking round brown.
yeah, I mean, like the dude wore glasses. Like I'm sure he watched anime or something, but the dude was massive. I would never cross that man. But he was a medic, and like I was really blessed to have those three as like my first encounter with NCOs.
You know, I remember my first drill sergeants, but there's only one that really stands out the most to me, which wasn't even my drill sergeant. He was just there for the fucking shark attack. His name was Drill Sergeant Spivey. And this man looked like fucking Skeletor. You know, even smiling, he looked like he was smiling that he was gonna kill you. Evil looking motherfucker. And I think I only had one encounter with him, and it's lasted to this date. We're talking about fucking 16 years later. It still affects me, dude. Oh man.
I don't know what it was like in the food or whatever, but like these guys were like staff sergeants and like sergeant first class, compared to like nowadays and
Right.
stuff. These dudes were like individual characters that when you think of these men, you think like that dude had like a story behind him. Like they were unique characters that I don't feel like you see anymore nowadays. You don't see like that staff sergeant that's like in his mid 30s, like just like I don't know, the equivalence is kind of changed. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just like you just don't see that kind of attitude nowadays.
Right. And it's funny because we came in around the same time, so we both seen the changes that occurred. And it's a trip thinking about it because I remember I came in 04 as well, and we didn't link up till about 07, 08 in Korea.
Yeah,
We
it
were
wasn't
both,
until summer '08.
yeah, we were both sergeants over there. It was
Yeah.
your second time over there as
Yeah.
well, and I'm gonna get into a story here in a second, but what it reminds me of is seeing the changes though, because the first NCOs that I had, they made an everlasting impact on me, and
Yeah.
you try to emulate that. And I was the yeller. I was the yeller as an NCO. Everybody has different leadership styles, and of course, hindsight 2020. Yeah, sometimes yelling didn't or wasn't necessary, or didn't merit it, but it's just what I grew up with or came up with. You know what I mean? So that's how I conveyed my messages. But there were other times where, eventually I learned from being a young sergeant to a staff sergeant how to actually become a better leader and each individual treat them differently, if per se. But the what do you think caused this fucking big change from the army going from the business of killing to the business of catering? Or if you can discuss that or share your thoughts on
No,
that.
yeah. So my opinion, this is all my opinion, by the way. With the wars ending, people aren't joining to go to war nowadays. Now people want like a steady job. And I think it's gotten to the point where like people have to find ways to make the army relevant. If we're not fighting a war, people are going to ask like, so what do you do? What is it that you do now that we don't have a war? So you have to, I don't know. I feel like the culture in the army now is like, how do we stay relevant in today's like society
Okay.
and like justify our existence? Because the last thing you want to do is like be the reason that thousands of people got kicked out of the military. We're trying to grow the army right now, and the justification being like, hey, we got Russia, we got China, and by the way, we also like lead in modern science. We're very involved in the communities. When a national epidemic happens medically, like coronavirus, we provide people to that. So I think we're trying to become like this civilian military enterprise. And I don't know, I just feel like the army right now has an identity crisis that it's trying to come to grips with, but it's slowly trying to transition into being this like civilian enterprise with all the accreditation and all the certification. Like every NCO should think like a CEO basically, and that's kind of like what I've seen. And
so it's kind of like the army is reflecting society or the youth of this society that can't identify if it wants to be a killer or if it wants to be a wuss or
and you know what?
It's transitional period. It needs its medications. That's what.
Well, here's the thing. My belief is that we, as in the people that are already in the military, we're making it that way. We're like, and you saw like when I came in, all I knew is like I'm joining the military. Military's not joining me. I'm gonna have to change to adapt to that.
Exactly.
I knew that, and it was reinforced by my NCOs when I first met them. They were like, we ain't changing shit for you. You're going to stay the way you are. Or, I mean, you're not going to stay the way you are. You're going to change to what we want you to become, which is a fucking soldier.
Exactly.
And so I think we are to blame. We've allowed it to happen. The ones that are currently in, we created this environment where it's like, hey, no, just do whatever you want, man. Just fucking, you want to go fucking do whatever the hell you want and like break rules and do, anything, by all means, man. Just if I ever cross the line in private, just make sure you write a comment card, and write my name.
See, I never had that problem. I think I wouldn't say that you guys, because honestly, at our level as in the enlisted, we just all we do is fucking execute what is given to us. So it's on the higher level that's making these fucking decisions that are, because I remember I used to tell my soldiers, like, look, man, I may not agree with any of the shit that I'm telling you to do, but I'm damn well gonna do it, and you're gonna do it as well.
Yeah. And I take responsibility just because, like, if somebody's throwing the buck at me, I'm just going around passing it back down. Kicking I'm kicking the can just as much as everybody else. I have every right to like say, I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to do it my way. And I try to do that as much as I can.
Right.
But I am just as guilty when I push the same BS down the line that I'm getting towards me. Because the worst thing that could happen to me is like, they'll just kick me out and, go home, enjoy your retirement. You're not what we want for the future of this army.
Right.
And I could just take that W and then just go. But the reality, financially, retirement-wise, like, I'm going to kick that can down the road just a little bit. I'm going to be a fucking smart-ass asshole along the way. And I'm going to put my 2 cents out there so everybody gets the real me. But I'm going to do some kicking, too. So I take responsibility for that,
Let me ask you,
whenever I can.
When you were coming up as a Joe, and I remember there was times where your chief would fight for you, where your smoke would fight for you, where First Sergeant would fight for you over whatever stupid shit was coming down the line. And somewhere in that fucking process, that got lost as well, I think, in my opinion. Now everybody's just a bunch of yes men, and it's because they don't want their NCOER or OERs to reflect.
Yeah, but I feel like the environment today, I mean, I think it's still unchanged. There's still people like that. I like to think that I'm like that. I've had many occasions over the last like 3 years, especially like on deployment, like don't fuck with my people on deployment because like I'm just gonna, I'm gonna blow you off basically. Like fuck you. I'm not gonna make my dudes do fucking 3 PT tests on a fucking outpost and shit. Long story, but like there's a lot of people doing good things. You can only do so much. Luckily, the environment right now in the Army, they don't care as much as about training as they do is like metrics. Hey, you got 3 guys that are late on fucking HIV shots. Go send them down there. That's the fight that we're fighting now. Paperwork and metrics, and like, hey, the dude, his DD-93 life insurance and shit is not up to date. You're fucked up. Like, okay, my bad. Like,
Right.
we're gonna lose the war because the dude's SGLI isn't updated. My bad. Let me stop what I'm doing. That is what we're facing right now. So I'm kind of okay with it.
I recall that as far as like if your Med Pros was red light, you better go get that shit green lighted as quick as possible.
Usually they give you like 90 days, but nowadays it's like, oh shit, you're 6 months out.
Yeah. God
from
damn.
like took it last week. No, but you're 6 months out. You go take it out again.
Dude. Wow.
That is what I've had to deal with. It's funny. It sucks. It's annoying, but that's kind of what we're dealing with. I don't know if it's the same thing across the other artillery units, but I know at least the ones I've seen recently. That's the big fight.
Have you seen like how have you seen the chiefs change from when you were a section chief, under a section chief, and then leading and mentoring section chiefs? What changes?
Oh man. So under like gods, like you couldn't fuck with them. I didn't even have the right to talk to my chief until I was already like a specialist. I was just a powder bitch. You better talk to the fucking gunner or the fucking ATC or whatever. Like, you don't even waste his time. Don't even text him. You talk to me. So I thought chiefs were like gods.
In Korea, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought chiefs were gods, man. So, and I still think chiefs are the most influential people in batteries, period. Like, even as a smoke gunny, if I was the first, like, the chief is the most important dude on that fucking gun line. Yeah. So I still see that way. When I became a chief, like, my first experience was there in Korea.
Right.
In 2008, I was like 21 years old. Fucking E5, just deployed. Cocky as fuck, wore a fucking Rolex watch or whatever, and then I had like 10 Joes at one point, no NCOs until later on, and it was definitely like a humbling experience because I thought it would be so fucking easy to do that until you got to shoot your first round, and it better be fucking safe. So your whole career is on that fucking screen, that fucking round. If you're degraded on the fucking numbers behind the scales, you're like, fuck, man, here it goes, fucking fire.
Yes,
and
sir.
Then you shoot it, and then you get your confidence. And then you have to learn how to, like, deal with different personalities under you, different problems. I'm 21. I've got Joes that are, like, in their 30s, and they're having marital problems. So how do I do that? How do I fix that? It's a thankless job. It was hard. It was humbling. I'm glad I went through that whole period of time in Korea. Because somebody actually, my smoke at the time sat me down and said, "You're not shit, dude. You're fucking garbage. You're not perfect. You're not as good as you think you are."
Who was your smoke at that time?
At Sergeant First Class Below.
Okay. Because I remember when I left, I'm speaking of like chiefing and shit. I looked at them the same way you did. I remember my first chief to me was like, and to this date, still one of the greatest people I knew, and But I got my opportunity to chief out there when my chief left, Aguayo. Yeah. When he left, Smoke Right was like, "You ready to do this shit?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'm ready." I was scared shitless, bro. I was scared shitless. But I was out there training, make sure I knew my job. And I was a newly promoted fucking E5. So fucking I remember when I shot my first round down range, fucking Smoke Right's like, boom. And that was before I said fire, and I jumped, and my hands were shaking, so he decided to start calling me Shakes. from that shit forward. But I mean, dude, you're so right on that point as far as like it makes you grow up quicker than, you know, because you got to start guiding people, not just in the military sense, but family wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you hit on that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was, you know, as a private, especially as a specialist, you know, I was always very quick to judge my NCOs when they did something fucked up. I was like, oh, I would never do that. I would never do
Right.
that. And then when you become one, and then you got to tell the same people to do the same shit that you didn't like as a Joe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you feel like a hypocrite, but you know why you're doing it. And then you try to figure out ways to really explain it to them. Like, the best I could do is like explain it to them better than my NCOs did to me,
Right.
of why we're doing it this way. So at least they're informed and they know what the fuck is going on. So yeah, that being a chief was the most rewarding experience in my career, and I did it for a while. I loved it, and a lot of, you know, every platoon sergeant that I came across, I respect a lot, because they all taught me something different. Where the last one would be like, all right, I'm satisfied with where you got, you're perfect. The next guy would come in and say, you're a fucking piece of shit, you suck,
Right.
you know, and this is what you need to do. So I just kept going up these steps. I always sucked. I thought of myself that way. Like, I was always mediocre. I could do better. And
Right.
that is pretty much how I carried myself as a, like, chief. And then when I became gunny, that was like a fucking vacation, man. It was like the first time I only got to worry about my driver and doing RSOP and finding alternate points and all that shit. Relaxing time.
Time out. When you were a gunnery sergeant, were you a gunny on a mechanized unit or a light unit?
777, man.
Oh, okay. Then you were a real gunnery sergeant. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I actually did something, man.
You didn't want to just burn powder.
Oh,
and
no,
be ash and trash.
Dude, I stayed gun. Like, it was easy, but I stayed gun. Like, the moment I get back to the firing point, like, the commander was like, hey, I'm thinking about, like, moving the gun somewhere else. I'd be like, all right, let me get the fucking crew. We're rolling. Never nonstop till, like, at night. The last one to go to bed, and first one up in the morning trying to go do another recon of another site and all that shit.
Yeah.
But it was good. Like, I didn't have to worry about it, because once we went back into, like, the garrison area, I'd be like, all right, shit's off me now.
Right.
Go home. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So back to Korea.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know if you remember this, but I sure as fuck do. And I'm pretty sure you remember this too, because it was the one and only time I went with you to Seoul. And there was a reason it was the one and only time I went with you to Seoul.
Yeah, sure was.
There's this small phrase in the Soldier's Creed, you know, I will never leave a fallen comrade. And so we were out there, can't say where we were at, but we were out there, and we were at a club that, you know, closed when the sun came up.
Yeah.
And I remember it was me and you, and I think Abasab was there. And
briefly, yeah. I remember he was wearing a black shirt too. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, see,
yeah.
I don't remember any of that shit because I was fucking faded by the time that it was
fully aware.
Yes. But long story short, we were out there, we were partying, had a great time, you know, dancing, and I learned what this meant, which I didn't know meant no. And it was definitely a great time. And I remember a young woman in red. I remember her. And then I remember waking up next to a fucking statue in the morning out there in the city. And I just remember waking up like, where the fuck am I? I gotta find URENA. I gotta find Abasab. Yeah, I couldn't find nobody. And when I tried to get in contact with someone didn't answer their phone. You know, and it's cool. You know, I mean, leave a battle buddy out there in the middle of fucking nowhere in a I'm not gonna put that part in there. All I know is somehow or another I made it back to fucking Camp Hovey. I don't know how, because I was still shit-faced.
See, that's good that you mentioned that, because I remember thinking that night that I was like, whatever happens, I know everybody has a plan to get back. Everybody is mature enough, has the common sense, and like has like the capability to make it back. And things happened that night. Opportunities arose. which I wouldn't do them. I wouldn't take advantage of these opportunities again if I went back in time. Hell no. But at the time, I was like, I did a risk assessment. I was like, what's the biggest risk that could happen? I was like, we all split up. But you know what? We all rode on the subway down here. I think Abizab was already there because I remember he just like popped up.
Yeah.
He just like popped up. I was like, oh shit. Like there he is just dancing away. And then
Right. Wasn't he dancing on top of the tables or some shit like that?
it was like it was a round table. I think it was like a back corner. It was poorly lit. And he was wearing a black button-up shirt, I think. And he was just dancing. I don't know if he had like his glasses on, but he was just wilding out. Had like fucking, like the sweat was coming out. Dude was having a good time.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was. In all seriousness, man, that was a great fucking time. And I do just remember like fucking waking up like, where the fuck am I? And now I'm like, well, I know I'm not going to find URENA because that motherfucker, well, he was doing his own thing. And
I got a phone call the next day from, eventually we talked and you told me something about a subway, the subway station that was closed or something.
No, dude. Now that I remember, I lost my fucking phone. I lost my phone. I remember now. I lost my fucking phone. I had no idea how to get back to Tongdushan. And I went to a gas station. And that's where I think I called you from. You didn't answer. Then I called your Abasab. Abasab didn't know what the fuck was going on either. So I asked the Korean lady, like, subway. And she said, down the street. So I ran to the fucking subway, dude. I don't even know how I jumped the trolley, I jumped the stall.
Yeah.
I got on the subway. I closed my eyes and woke up in Tongdushan.
There's no better bum feeling than being the next day and wearing the clothes that you were wearing at the club the night before. There's no better feeling in a crowd of people because they know. Everybody knows.
Bro.
But I knew that you were going to make it back if something happened. I knew that Abizab, I mean, he was already there. I definitely knew I was going to make it back because I've been doing what it is that I'm doing for like the longest time.
Yeah, I remember you go all dressed up and shit, all suited up like a motherfucker.
Yeah, man.
Pimped out, man. Good shit,
Yeah,
good shit.
Had to be the life of the party.
I feel you. And you definitely were. You surprised me that night, to say the least. You surprised me. Let's just say you have a great personality.
I try to balance like my professional life in the Army is going to be 180 degrees different than my off-duty life.
Right.
Because I have to separate the two or it'll just drive me nuts, man. Like I can't be Army all day because like it'll just drive me nuts.
It will. Dude, do you remember the night before I left? By any chance?
Maybe.
Okay. I don't know if this is true or not, but I do remember I was getting fucked up with that one Iraqi guy that had just gotten there. Him
at the bar across the street from the barracks?
The Iron Triangle.
Okay,
so we're getting fucked up. I can't remember his name. I want to say Hussein, but that's probably just me being fucking.
Sergeant Muhammad.
There you go. They're all the same. But fucking, I remember him. He won some kind of lottery over there, and he had money, so he got me shit faced. Not to mention, we had just finished playing HHB in football, and we were getting fuckered up, dude. Long story short, my understanding is that apparently I ended up passing out, and I had my flight to catch early next morning. Luckily, that one FDC chief, little penguin looking guy, I can't remember his fucking name for the life of me. He was a little short, chubby little dude. He was new there, relatively new. I don't know if he took over for fucking Chisholm or if he took over for whoever was before Chisholm. But
because I know Martinez was one of the.
It wasn't Martinez. It was the other dude. It was another dude. A little chubby guy. He was short, chubby, cool as fuck though. Because I went on CPP with him once, and he was cool as fuck. But anyways, he ended up waking me up. He got me into the fucking Humvee, and drove me down to the bus stop. Anyway, so my understanding, what people were telling me is that I was running up and down the hallways in the barracks, kicking the door saying, I'm out this motherfucker. I'm rich, bitch. They said I was running all around doing that shit. And then apparently, this was brought to me by First Sergeant Samuel because I ran into him over there in Stewart.
Yeah.
I guess I was running naked in the halls too, somewhere along those lines. I don't know how true that is. Did you hear anything of like that when I left?
Probably not. I mean, I'm sure I did at the time, and I kind of kept my mouth shut because I'm not going to throw stones in a glass
Right,
house.
right.
uh,
Oh man.
but I believe it because I think there was like 10 people. I guess it was just like the flavor of the unit because like every time somebody was about to PCS, something happened. I'm not going to name any names, but somebody in my section was supposed to PCS and stayed for another like 30 days. And I think I came across like 5 different incidents where like, oh, dude's supposed to leave tomorrow, but here he is, fucked up, breaking shit.
Yeah. Oh,
And yeah, so I may have heard of what you did or may have not. I just chalked it up as just another like notch on the wall.
dude, there was this one LT that we had there. I'm not gonna say his name because I think he's still in, and he probably a major by now. But he was a butter bar at the time, and me and him were were pretty fucked up in the barracks. And fucking
Oh.
and we ended up wrestling that night there in the barracks. And there was this dude Sanchez, and I think he balled me up. And then I think he balled up that LT as well. I mean, it didn't help that we were fucked up. And
I mean, there was one that I saw once. There was this bar called Monkey Beach, and it was in like a town called Sinchon. Monkey Beach was awesome because you'd go in there and they give you a bucket of soju. There's a bar like that in the Ville in TDC, but Monkey Beach, it was like these glow in the dark buckets with like 20 straws designed for like 10 people
fucking
of soju.
fishbowl.
And then and it's just for you. And I see this LT, I forgot his name, but he used to wear glasses or whatever. Unassuming guy who I thought would never in a million years be there. I thought he'd be like at home reading like books and like getting smart and getting a degree or something.
Right.
But here's this guy. I make eye contact. He makes eye contact, and we're like, "All right, none of us are here. All right, cool. You want something to drink?"
Was he a taller dude?
Yeah, skinny,
Would
tall guy.
would his initials be something along the lines like Charles Manson?
Probably. I don't know, man. I don't remember any of their.
Okay.
There's only like very few officers that I really like remember.
I remember him because he was still a butter bar. I was his first reenlistment, and when I reenlisted out there, he's the one that did it. So I to this day, I ran into him when I was in school in ALC, and that was another experience right there. Oh my god, dude! But anyways, long stories. Then so for a while after Korea, we hung out for a while. We were pretty tight over there, I would think. And then I ended up leaving. You ended up doing the Avoid Iraq program and stayed there.
Well, no, I stayed in Korea for 1 year, man. That was it. I didn't want to do any more.
Dude, you were there for over a year.
No, definitely not. So
Really?
I was there. That was my first duty station, and then I went to Fort Bliss for like 2.5 years. I went back to Korea where you saw me summer of 08.
Right.
Summer of 09, I PCS to Fort Hood because
Oh,
I just got married.
That's right. You're right. My bad. I'm thinking about fucking Rose. Rose is the one that did the IP.
Oh yeah, he was there for I think for a while.
Yeah, dude. Fucking. So you got there in the summer of fucking 08? Are you sure?
Yeah, June. It was like June 15th, June 20th, around that time.
Why did I feel like you were there earlier than that? Like fucking like April or some shit like that.
Just because I have that kind of personality.
Calmado, güey. No mames.
Lasting impression.
Más puto.
No, it was that summer because the Sergeant Aguayo, he was clearing that month.
Right.
I remember seeing him once, and he was like finaling out the next day. So I saw him, and then so he was like the first NCO that I kind of saw from a distance when I got to the battery for PT that morning.
Yeah, dude. Aguayo was cool as fuck. He was cool as fuck, man. Real cool.
Yeah, I ran into him in Afghanistan a year and a half ago.
Oh, no shit.
We're in the same outpost together. He had just made Master Sergeant.
No shit.
Yeah, and so he was like the operations NCO where I was working. I really didn't interact with a lot of the other units in that outpost.
Yeah.
For me, it was just like my platoon, and then that's it. Like, fuck everybody else. I left the LTs to kind of deal with all the other units and all that shit.
Did you guys do fire? Did you guys fire artillery out there, or?
Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast now. Like they had a limit on how many people could be in Afghanistan. So we
Okay.
had artillery was our main 24/7 fucking job. We
Nice.
had like 2 guns out there, and then we were the only ones like fucking doing anything really on that outpost
Where
because
were
we
you
had
at?
like mortars. It was a Terran Cot. It was like the south middle, like north of Helmand Province,
Okay.
Uruzgan Province or whatever. Um, we had like a mortar guys there, and the SFAB was there,
Okay.
and I remember like the mortars were there, but they didn't really like shoot. They shot every once in a while,
Yeah.
like initially, and then towards the end. But the artillery guys, my platoon, my guys like shot almost damn near every fucking day. Like
That's
it
what's
was
up.
nonstop.
Damn, that's good shit, dude. That is really good shit. Fucking I was blessed to do my job as an artilleryman on my second deployment. Granted, I don't know what the fuck I was shooting at. You know, all I know that was like fire mission coming down. Okay. Whatever. You know, it's because I was in Fob Marez, which is a huge ass fucking fob out there in Mosul.
Yeah.
So I mean, but I wish I would have had a little more combat experience, like at Cop Monte when I was out there. Cop Monte, they were fucking firing every goddamn day. I don't know if you heard one of my shoot the shits that I did with Felice.
Yeah.
That dude, fucking high speed FDC guy. I don't know how many fucking numbers of goddamn fire missions he shot, but it's in the thousands, dude. You know, it's fucking amazing. So a lot of us didn't get to have that opportunity. So I'm glad that you did as well.
And no, and I'm glad. Like today's army, I think I'm glad that they got to shoot artillery. Like because my first experience with the deployment, man, just like you, just like it was maneuvers. Like
Yep.
get in a fucking Humvee, hope you don't get blown up, kick down some doors,
Nice.
do some fucking raids. Oh, there's a fucking gas tank on the side of the road. Better pucker up. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, nothing happened. Fuck. All right, let's
The
keep
Army
going.
fucked us up on that one though. You know,
Yeah.
I tell people like because they made it seem like we're gonna be able to spot IEDs a mile away, and all that did was give us a false sense of fucking confidence. Because when we got there, we didn't find the IEDs; they found us. I
Yeah.
mean, very few and far between. Some folks actually found them, which was cool shit. But unfortunately, some the IEDs end up finding them. Not to rehash the past, but I think you were one of those, right?
Yeah, like my first deployment, I want to say like the first 6 months, and this is like around the surge time of like 2007. Uh, like my first deployment, it was rough, man. I think it scarred me to this day. Like there's no other deployment, maybe the second one, but there's no other deployment that really like changed my outlook on the army. It's when I really realized that the army was like some real shit, that people can lose their life if you don't fucking train the way you're supposed to, if you don't fucking pay attention, if you don't do this. Like that first deployment really fucking made a difference. And unfortunately, like I lost friends in that one. And I had a close call a couple times. I had a really big close call once at night. Like the IED blew up like the whole front of, like if this is the window
Yeah.
of the Humvee and this is the engine, the whole fucking front end like was gone.
Whoa.
We would have been obliterated that night. It was like 2 a.m, big battalion raid that we were gonna do on this house, and we
Oh,
just got hit out in the middle of nowhere. We just got fucking hit in the middle of the night, and I think I was the 240 machine gunner. And that shit knocked me down. I had to get taken out of the Humvee by like my smoke at the time, and then I think maybe an Iraqi guy. Somebody pulled me out. My
yeah.
interpreter was in there. I was in the LT's truck, and like luckily, thank God, none of us got hurt that time. But
Yeah.
the atmosphere at the time was like, one of these days, we're gonna get really hit really bad because like our whole battery would get hit like fucking
Right.
3 times a day, 2 times a day. It was rough. And then unfortunately, like it did happen, one time in August, and that those kind of moments and all that shit like really like played a big role in like who I am today.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad we get to do artillery, just because like it's not something I want to see. Nowadays, kids, all they want to do is like, I want to see fucking war, I want to kill people and all that
Right.
shit. It's big talk. I was the same way before my deployment. People, specialists in our unit, they had combat deployments.
Yeah.
They would tell us, hey, you're gonna fucking die. You're not gonna fucking survive once you get over there. And this is all I'm hearing as a fucking PFC. Then I go over there, barely make it, lose friends, fucking see some crazy shit. And then I try to repeat the same shit to everybody else, and everybody's like, no, I want to see some fucking combat, I want to see all this. I'm like, dude,
Right.
it'll fuck you up.
Oh
It's
yeah.
rough.
You know what? And that's a very big key point right there. A lot of motherfuckers think that it's like a video game, especially with this generation coming up. You know, you don't get to respawn. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
there's no
saying?
respawns.
You don't fucking respawn and you don't heal up quick like that. When you get hurt, you get fucking hurt. You know,
Yeah.
and I I've met a few metal chasers in my life, and they were toxic. I hate using that fucking word, but they were toxic because they were the type that'll try to go into into danger just to try to fucking fluff their shit up. You know, it kind of reminds me of that movie, fucking We Were Soldiers. That one LT,
Yeah.
that fucking thank God I died for my country or whatever the fuck. You know, he just
Nah,
wanted every
man.
fucking medal out there. No, guy, you can keep your Purple Heart, you can keep your cab
Yeah.
if it brings back the people that fucking died. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I'd fucking, not to get too like emotional, but like
Yeah.
I'd give all of it up, my time in the army
Oh yeah.
just for that. So
Yeah, dude. And I mean, it's good to discuss this type of shit because honestly, sometimes we let shit like this sit in the back burner for a while, and I'm a victim of it. You know, try to hide our emotions because that's how we came up. Suck it up, drive on, and eventually that shit, your demons will come and get
and
you.
and it was I feel bad for like, I feel like I got lucky. I'm only deployed 3 times. I spent like time a few years in like different kind of units and stuff.
Right.
But like I feel bad for like the dudes that didn't have enough time to like really react to what just happened. They'd go on deployment 15 months, come
Mhm.
back, reset, train up, and deploy in a small 8 to 9 month window. Especially if you're at places like Fort Hood,
Yeah.
with like 4ID, back when 4ID and First Cab were there and shit. These dudes would like go back and forth. These dudes would like go deployment, PFC, come back, make sergeant, go back on deployment, come back, become staff sergeants, go back on
Right.
deployment, platoon sergeants. That was the way it was. These
Right.
dudes didn't have enough time to fucking process what the fuck just happened. And these dudes, and then at the end of, like 5 deployments, they're like, hey, we don't need you anymore. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out, because we're going in a different direction with the army. Like
Exactly.
it kind of really like fucked these dudes up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got like a somewhat balanced career as far as I went.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Maybe, hopefully somebody will listen one day that maybe they should get some TDA in between fucking deployments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let them refresh their fucking mind. Let them reset. Because if you start going back to back to back like that, your only mentality is going to be to always be on guard, and you're not going to be able to reset, especially if you fucking deploy and get the fuck out after seeing shit.
Yeah, and the shitty part is, like it's good to deploy all the time. And, it's helped out a lot of people, and it's been good for your like career. But like when if you do that so much, and then you go back to like say Fort Sill, and you try to get like a TDA assignment,
Yeah.
like people will treat you different. Like people will be like, oh, you're not as good as artillery, even though it wasn't your fault. You didn't get to choose your artillery career. You're not a good artilleryman because you were out doing fucking like deployments and
Right.
stuff. You're not up to this level of standard in fucking TRADOC or fucking, back when Korea, like they didn't deploy and shit.
Right.
You're not meeting our standards, so you're not fucking like good enough and stuff. And like it really fucks you up. And so I'm glad I had like those breaks. I'm glad I had Korea in the middle of the deployments. I'm glad I went to Germany when I did and got like my little cool guy job there.
That was a cool fucking job.
Yeah.
That was a cool job. I mean, were you still doing that when we linked up in SLC, or
Yes. Yeah,
you were doing the whole flying around and visiting distant lands?
So if you're still doing artillery, I highly recommend calling your branch manager and asking them for the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. And basically what it is they pick, I don't know if it's still the case today, but they pick 3 artillerymen, 13 Bravos, maybe a few other ones, but mostly 13 Bravos across the Army. So at any given time for 3-year periods, there's going to be three 13 Bravos working there. I got lucky enough to get selected for this shit. And you'll work with infantry guys, cav guys, I think mostly tankers, infantry guys. And then the rest of the unit is like linguists from the Army, Marine Corps, Air Force, and then civilians and intel people, all these random people. And then all you do is like it's like a game of international chess where you study this treaty and then you go enforce this treaty. And the reason they got combat arms guys is because we are experts at how to see a cannon. So if I see a vehicle in the distance, I'm like, oh, that shit's a cannon. And I know what kind of cannon it is by the silhouette. And then
Right.
they teach you all this shit. They brainwash you to learn like 800 different kinds of fucking vehicles or shit. It's crazy. Like you test every fucking week over 60 different vehicles. They'll tarp vehicles up, Russian and American. And then you look at the silhouette and you're like, oh, that's a T-62 fucking kilo tank.
Right.
The fucking command variant and all this shit. It's some like Jedi shit.
Right.
But it was a good break. I got to travel to like different fucking countries all the time on the military's dime. Got to make good connections with like good people all over, like a lot of civilians, and you get to work with other branches. And then, you know, if you're like I was a mid-career NCO young staff sergeant, you know, it boosts your confidence and you're able to talk to field grade officers a lot more comfortably. And I think because you work with them, they're in your fucking team. So by the time you go back to the line, you're not so like fucking scared and shit when you're talking to somebody that outranks you. You can confidently speak and like articulate what you need to say to somebody of higher rank.
Damn,
So
look at this guy using big fucking words, articulate. Damn, look at this, from a young lad from the poorest of the poor beach cities to a fucking outstanding NCO. I mean, who articulates very well.
Man.
You know, that's awesome shit, dude. I mean, fuck. So where's your career, if you can disclose, where's your career taking you to now?
So right now, I am like 2 weeks away.
Of course, this shit pauses.
I'll be, and then when
go ahead.
You good? Yeah. So I'll be at Fort Benning, Georgia, in a few weeks, and then I'll be joining one of the SFABs down there. And then they've got a mission that I've been pretty interested in a while. Just a different change of pace. I've already finished my time as a smoke like a year ago. Did that for like two years and some change. And you know, now it's time to do something different. And then that's it. Write it out. That's supposed to be, hopefully, knock on wood, my last assignment. Then I go home and wherever that may be, and just be a fucking Mr. URENA.
I'll tell you what, Mr. URENA. There is someone I know that works there. His name is Sergeant First Class Hodgson, who happens to be from San Diego as well, who happens to be a huge fucking Chargers fan as well. So he was actually one of my shoot the shitters when I first initially started this. I would definitely recommend, you know, he's been with the SFAB for quite some time now. He's actually on his way out of the Army. He's getting ready to retire, but that would be a good connection to make right there, especially y'all being from San Diego and shit, both Cali boys.
My personality is like people naturally, like I gravitate towards people naturally gravitate towards me. Like
I love the confidence. I love the confidence.
Like no, it's just I'm being real. Like I'm a very quiet, shy person.
Right.
Like at work, I don't go out of my way and be like, hey, what's up? You know, and conversations just happen. I could just telling somebody when I saw you, I was like, this dude's legit. Let me talk to this guy. Right. And we talked, and then I was like, oh yeah, like I get where you're coming from. You get where I'm coming from. Yeah. And that's usually how my relationships with people that I work with go. It just happens naturally.
Right on. Too easy. So what plans do you have after the military, since you're close to getting out already? Have you started any kind of ventures in between?
Yeah. So obviously I started givandals.com. If you can't see it, we got the Barracks Bro t-shirt.
Yes, sir.
All these you know, I try not to like capitalize on the whole veteran-owned t-shirt company thing. Right. I think sometimes it's a little bit too cliche, too much. But you know, I was like, I have ideas. I was always an artsy guy. I was like, I've got these ideas that I want to put on a shirt that I used to think were like really funny when I was coming up in the Army. I just never seen them on a shirt before.
Right.
And I try not to be too like, I don't try to be hua at all. It's all like counterculture shit that happens in the Army, like Barracks Bros or fucking, you know, show me your CAC.
Yeah.
On a t-shirt and stuff. So, you know, I created that website. I created the store. You know, I've worked. You've contributed dozens of times to stuff that I make, and you know, I'm very grateful for that. And you know, I'm trying to do just, you know, let it grow naturally.
Yeah.
You know, I run advertisements every once in a while, but I'm just trying to let it become something that grows naturally over time. That way, by the time I get out in like 3 years, you know, it's something that I don't necessarily have to live off of, but it's just kind of like a hobby that I do on
Right.
the side. So
Exactly. And and it's good that you're doing it that way. I feel the same way because it took me a minute. I started noticing that I was doing it too often.
yeah,
And with that, you oversaturate people. And there's a lot of t-shirt businesses out there already. So the ideas are just getting sucked up and sucked up. It becomes redundant. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
like you said, just take your time with it. When a good solid idea hits, you drop it. Like the idea I came up with yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
I like it personally. It says free the
I,
slave cables. I mean,
yeah, I
so,
like it too. It's just, just
a little edge.
I that's some edgy shit. I like it. You know, I'd probably make a shirt that's like a donkey dick, you know, the silhouette or something. Maybe make that. I don't know. I'm experimenting with fanny packs at the moment.
You think they're gonna
Uh,
make a comeback?
The Rock fucking brought him back. You know, is you calling The Rock stupid? You know, like
I mean,
if
I'm
The
not
Rock
calling
can,
you smart, but
yeah, if The Rock can pull off a fanny pack, I'm pretty sure everybody else. It just anything can be valuable if you put the right message behind it.
oh, you
I
got to
think.
market it correctly as well.
Yeah, like Wolf of Wall Street. You know, like the DiCaprio's character is like, sell me this pen. You
Right.
know, you just got to find a way to sell them the pen. So you could do that with anything: a fanny pack, a fucking wallet, a sticker, a T-shirt. You know, as long as the message is there and you push it out the right way, anything can fucking sell. You just have to be committed, dedicated, and really believe in what you're doing.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what's up. I mean, dude, this has been a hell of a good conversation we've had. Anything else you want to pimp out or plug before we dip out, man? Because we're reaching that time already, about an hour.
No, no, man. Like, no. Thanks for having me. I know it was a long time coming, but I really appreciate you bringing me along. I love your fucking show, man. I think you're on the way up, far up. You know, watching you go from like sitting on the fucking porch with a small table,
Yeah.
you know, and your fucking laptop to where you're at right now, man. It's just like I'm honored to even be in the same fucking presence, man.
Dude,
Thank you.
it's funny because you told me to make sure I take a picture of that and save it. And I do. I took a picture of that. It was my daughter's little tea fucking set cart,
Yeah.
iPad with headphones that you're wearing, recording it onto my phone, and sitting in front of my house. And yeah, I've gotten a lot of good positive feedback from this. I'm still waiting for the shoe to drop to either somebody say that, I'm copying off of someone else, or that, I'm being unoriginal.
Everybody's copying out of everybody. I'm not saying that you are
Oh, yeah.
at all, but like everybody's a copy of somebody. You know,
Okay.
if you're a radio host and you're copying what other radio hosts do, and that's talking to people. Like there's
Right.
no way to reinvent the wheel if the wheel's already fucking spinning the right way. Like haters are gonna hate because they're not doing it like anything near as much as you're fucking doing. Where's
Right.
their effort? Where's their fucking hard work? Until you become successful, and then they come out of the woodworks and want to be like, hey man, I got this idea for you. Oh
Right.
shit. Like, no, where were you at fucking 10 years ago?
When I was
You know, like,
struggling.
yeah, when you fucking needed the help and stuff.
Yes,
So
sir.
I say fuck it, man. As long as you like what you're doing, you
I
enjoy
do.
it, and it makes me fucking happy, fucking keep doing it.
And I appreciate that. The funny thing is, I mean, not even funny, but just the thing is that this is something that has turned into more of a passion now, because I don't expect to make money out of this. I don't expect to become, there's people that do it to make money or get compensated for it. I enjoy this simply because I get to talk to other veterans, and I get to talk to other people that understand me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I called it On the Gun Line, because on the gun line, we were open to have any discussions without any fucking finger pointing or any negativity to it. It's just a place where you've always felt comfortable,
Yeah.
So that's why I love this shit, man. And the more and more I do it, the more comfortable I've become. It's crazy to see from where it started to where it's at now, and again, it's with the support of people like you and all my other listeners that, they watch it on YouTube or they fucking listen to it on the platform, on their podcast platform. And I appreciate that, I mean, slow and steady,
Yeah, man. No, you're like I said, you're an amazing host, man. And like I said, I'm just humbled to be here. Thank you for bringing me along. Fucking, you're doing amazing, dude. But
All right.
I don't even need to say all that shit.
cry. I'm getting all fucking Oprah Winfrey up on this. So with that being said, everybody, make sure y'all go ahead and check out GI Vandals. Right there, you will find some good satirical shirts that he's been making. You got the COVID and Cuddle. You got the Barracks Bros. You got something for everybody there. I guarantee you'll find it. And why go spend $25-$30 on a shirt when you can get it for a lot less than that and it's still the same or better quality? So definitely go check out GI Vandals. It's my homeboy, and I'm not going to be cliche like he said and say it's veteran owned. Just know that it's good shit that's coming to you. You're going to get what you fucking paid for, y'all. Also with that, again, I want to go ahead and send out a shout out to my homeboy Marquez, who has his new podcast called Get Your Mind Right, full of positivity. Make sure you go check out According to Lee whenever his shit starts dropping. You know, he's great. He gives great insight, great knowledge, and it's going to be all around because, I mean, he's talking about Dragon Ball Z shit, which I don't know about. And, you know, he's a big nerd on that. So he'll be talking about that and weightlifting and all some other good shit. And, of course, it'll throw out some politics here and there, which is what gives me my angry black man moment. And also go check out Under the Net with Saran Juarez. He's the one that got me to start doing podcasts. Go check him out. It's kind of like this, but more professional. Mine is more shoot shit. His will provide you learning experiences. Mine will provide you comedic experiences. I'm like the sidekick, man. Anything you want to pimp out before we go?
No, man. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, brother. It's been a pleasure. Do you know the outro?
What do I need to say?
I guess never mind. You don't know it. I'm going to start doing it to y'all motherfuckers that are coming out here. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the midweek memo coming up this weekend or this week. I don't know who I'm going to have as a guest. I think it's going to be Juarez as my guest host because Kowalczyk's gone for 2 weeks. With that being said, everybody, y'all have a great weekend. Love, peace, and hair grease. Rounds complete. End of mission. Gunline out. Bye, y'all.